Stephen, you there?
I'm here. Hello.
And Ryan's here too.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Hi, Ryan. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Greetings from Colorado.
Yeah. Greetings from California. Okay, so what's going on?
Well, we need to move into the actual filing world, and I guess you guys understand that the provisional patent portion of it is where we are now.
Yes, sir.
And
right.
And so your dad and I were talking about the extent of what this patent can cover, and it's from what I've learned and what I'm imagining it can be, the patent has a pretty broad spectrum. That's the goal always, to carve out the widest possible territory you can get when you're making your claims, so that you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a device that has multiple applications, I think, and as it's grown and evolved, my world. I come originally from the rehab world, and then have worked with quite a few patients over the years on various and sundry things, particularly with people with Parkinson's. That's been my real area of encounter. And I know, and of late, because I go to I go to a workout here at the hospital. There's a workout room where it's cardiac rehab, and so I run across all the cardiac patients, the people who've had bypasses and strokes, and all those fixer-upper things that they encounter. And so in the course of a day, they have like 5 exercise classes. And, you watch...
Stephen,
yeah.
Let me interrupt you here.
Yeah.
You do that because it's research, or this is something you volunteer to do?
No, I actually had vertigo last year. And so it was about regaining balance. And so... I mean, I had only two episodes of it, and I know a whole lot more about vertigo. It can happen to anybody.
I know people who've had it, and it's miserable, I'm told.
You learn the first time, the second time it's coming on. And you then just realize you're frozen in place until it quits. But,
right. Some people can't get out of bed until it's over.
And that's right. And you actually are frozen, because if you start moving, you'll start throwing up right away.
Yes, okay.
So, but from that experience, then my doctor said, well, here, I'll just send you over here to the balance people, because balancing is part of the recovery in cardiac rehab. So I go there, and I make lots of friends with these people, and they're all there. And so I just keep going, and I meet all these people who are in one stage or another of recovery from cardiac. And of course, then they want to pace everybody into their rehab, because they want them to slowly recover, but not to and not to have a gap in the times that they exercise.
Right.
Now, what they tell me is that those patients who exercise twice a week after a cardiac event have a 40% greater recovery long term than those who don't. So there's a lot of a lot of empirical data that says, hey, this exercise stuff is good for you, no matter what.
Yes, I agree.
So taking your idea and then looking at the physical device that it might be, and then the extension to me was, well, wait a minute, if it can do this, then it would be suitable and really ideal in lots of cases for
lots of applications.
The rehab people. So I think there's an equal market between the child market and the rehab market. And to conclude on that, the problem for most of any of these kind of things, where you have either people who have a cardiac event, they have some kind of neurological problem ongoing, or they have some kind of long-term recovery, is getting back and forth to the treatment. So
Okay.
I foresee this device as being the ideal home unit. So yes, you come to group twice a week, but then the other 3 or 4 or 5 days a week, you can do it from home. And
Okay.
and as
And
I was
there's
yeah,
nothing like that out there.
I couldn't find anything like that. Nothing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and as we were talking earlier, the advantage of this is with electronics now. We can have some smart kids draw up an app for it. And
Right.
so the app will record how much activity you do, what kind of activity, what kind of strength you're gaining or not, the exertion, all that sort of stuff is force feedback relatable.
Right.
Given that, with the app, then it can be recorded and reportable. So in this recovery or the OT PT world, suddenly you don't have to send out OTs and PTs to people's houses all the time, which is hugely inefficient.
Yes.
You can supplement that with the machine, which would be a great way for a PT to monitor how involved and how consistent people are in their rehab.
Yes. Right.
So, as we were saying earlier too, this may even cross over into something that's Medicaid or Medicare ascribable, so that it could actually become a device that's billable that way.
Okay.
You know.
But let me interrupt you again.
Yeah.
I had a hip replacement about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And those people, the guys would come to my therapy. People would come to my house.
Right.
Maybe 3 times a week. That's what you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
So you can get into like hip replacements, knee replacements, and see how much mobility they're increasing or strength.
Yeah, because they want you, as you know, they want you early to start exercising.
Right. Yeah, I know. I exercised the same day I had
Yeah.
surgery.
Get moving. But they
Yeah.
don't want you to overdo either, or they don't want a gap
Yeah.
in the recovery.
Right. Right.
So Ryan, what do you
Okay,
think?
so-
What do you think of all that?
Yeah, actually, I was just going to chime in. There's a few questions I have in regards to that. As far as physical therapy, I mean, there's physical therapy for everything. As we know, I've had shoulder surgery, Dad's had hip surgery. I know what physical therapy is. I've had broken bones and everything else. So as far as, the device that we have now, it's pretty much just for arm strength, correct?
The configuration we have now, is perhaps grip. We can also add a grip device to it, so you can exercise like a bicycle caliper type thing, for example.
Yes.
If that was on there, and then the repetitive arm motion. Yeah.
Okay. So then, as far as other things for physical therapy, leg injuries and stuff like that, there would be other devices. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking that this is an upper body device.
Okay.
And that a lower body would fit would be whatever that would be would probably be so different that it would be a different patent.
A separate patent.
A
Okay.
separate
that was,
and
that
different
was my
patent.
question.
Because it's a different.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah. So no, I think this represents upper body.
Okay, so this is just the upper body one. And now, as far as talking about the cardiac patients and their rehab, is most of the rehab they do upper body?
A lot of it's a lot of it's walking or standing or movement.
Okay.
So they want all the cardiac patients. It's all about circulation.
Okay.
Anything to get circulation and to keep atrophy from occurring and to keep just your muscles from getting weaker.
Okay. Yeah. So any kind of exercise in general.
Yeah.
Is what you're talking about. So this could be included in their therapy. Is what you're talking about.
It is because it represents circulation. Obviously, you need upper body circulation, and you need circulation to your extremities. You get in the elderly, and that's the problem. The circulation, especially to feet, it becomes chronic, and that causes problems.
Well, yeah, and as you've been talking about it, as we've been emailing back and forth, I mean that's exactly kind of what I pictured. And I sent the email out the other day. I was thinking of other uses for that, like you're saying, how when people start out at a gym and throughout their their first month at the gym could use something like this to test their strength so they could see how well they're doing. Things like that is what I envisioned what you were talking about. So
hadn't thought of that component, but you're right, because it does give you it gives you a metric of where you start out. So that's good to know. How strong are you day one?
When I went through my hip surgery and with to the hospital, and everybody I talk to that goes to therapy end up quitting early because they don't know what kind of gain there, if it's even efficient to go through therapy. Mm-hmm. Something like this would show them that they're gaining in their strength and mobility, right?
Well, as we've talked about with the kid version of it, we can make it animated. We can make it encouraging. We can put in something as a goal, and you get a reward of music or something for having done it.
Something to motivate.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And above and beyond that, it really does provide a mechanism for the oversight of that case. If you're a PT, you know that you need to go see that client after 10 days because they haven't done anything.
Right.
And sometimes they can just call the client and say, "Oh, hey, why don't you get back on your machine?" And it's just from experience, it's a huge amount of time and time wasted when people, when you have to make these home visits, because once you train somebody, the rest of it is just repetition.
Yes, exactly.
And there's all kinds of
and that's fantastic. Version. I did a bunch of research, and I didn't see anything out there for kids. Kids look in front of a video game for hours, but they're sitting only using their thumbs.
Yeah, I think
nothing that. Go ahead.
No. I think when we were looking at the arcade games that were arm wrestling type things. Now, those exist. Those have existed for 150 years. But notably, they would be in an entire. Those are amusement devices. They're a totally different patent class.
Yes, exactly.
So even if somebody,
I really like this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If somebody made one just like we're talking about, and put it in there, you put quarters in it or slide your card, it's still even if it looks exactly the same, it's a totally different device because of the patent rules. It has a wholly different purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was thinking, in regards to the child version, which I, like I said, I did a lot of research and didn't really see many video games. There's the Nintendo Wii where you can run on the pad and certain things like that in the house. Like, there's nothing, that like with something like this, a kid would want to beat that next level, and you could encourage them. Well, you need to get out and be active, and and build muscle and get rid of fat, and then you could beat that next character. Something that could just be encouraging to kids. With the obesity epidemic that we have today in this country, I think something like that would really hit a home run with parents, especially.
And Gary, you've looked. I mean, you've looked. I've looked. I mean, I haven't spent 40 hours looking, but I looked pretty thoroughly. I couldn't find anything, nothing that was comparable.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
Okay, that's positive for us then.
Yeah, because it has you carve what they call a wide path within the patent territory. And so,
who would buy these? The regular stores and the doctor hospital would recommend to their patients that they buy this thing.
well, let's talk about the possibilities of rollout here. But before we do that, one thing just came to mind, which Ryan, you suggest. What is the reward for doing this? Let's think about that for a second.
You're healthier,
Right.
and better mobility, and you feel much better about yourself.
That's absolutely right. That's the primary goal.
That's right, but you know what? But there's already a million different things out there that if you exercise and do things right, then you'll feel better about yourself. That's the problem in this country in general is people don't care. They're going to go have their McDonald's cheeseburger no matter what.
Yeah, right.
So I see what Stephen's saying is there has to be a higher reward, right, Stephen?
Well, there is the intrinsic reward of improved cardiovascular health. I mean, that's the primary issue.
Right.
But as I think about it now, when you look at motivation, it opens, especially if we have an app, it opens the door to this amazing advertising. Because let's just say you go to somebody who makes an energy bar, okay, and you get it sponsored. You're a kid, and if you do X numbers of repetitions or you improve so many percent, then that company will give you a coupon, an electronic coupon for an energy bar. So the cross marketing, which nobody's been able to do because you haven't. I mean, you could have said, in conventional way, but this opens the door to a sponsor or a group of sponsors that would be a huge underwriter as a branding device, and you could selectively make that through your app. So that would be an added incentive to the kids actually do it because they would win something. Haven't thought about that till now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like you go to the arcade, you win a bunch of tickets, and you take home a rubber pencil.
Right.
But the kids absolutely love it and will spend $50 just to get that rubber pencil.
Sure. And so you have a reward mechanism for either endurance, and then it turns into contests and whatever else, But you incentivize it through some kind of branding idea, and suddenly you've got a whole bunch of people competing for that part of the business that's all tied to the mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there, like you said, there's the health part. You get healthier, but at the same time, there's an extra incentive, which just helps to push you a little bit more. That's fantastic. That's
parents don't care really as long as they're giving, as long as it's something within the realm that parents would approve of. It's obviously it's, but they do that all the time, and that's what there's a database of your purchasers that comes with this.
Right.
And so if you handle that responsibly, parents then go for it, and then you get a write-up in Parents Magazine or whatever it is. They recommend it. It hits the TV shows, and they go, "Wow, this is great because my kid does this," and they got 30% off Nikes, whatever it might be.
Yeah. No, well, and you're absolutely right. In terms of the advertising part as well. I mean that anytime you can get major advertisers. I mean that's huge.
It's huge in dollars, and it's
absolutely.
And it doesn't cost from our side of you, or our side of the equation. We just sign some kind of licensing contract with them, and then some database just sends them a notification that this kid's email, or this kid's parents' email, get a coupon in the inbox, something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's very, very, very. Well, yeah, they've made it very simple nowadays.
I hadn't thought of that till about
of,
just today. Going, wait a minute, why? And you sort of spawned that, Ryan, with that idea about how do you incentivize this? So
yeah,
that's one way.
Exactly.
And that makes it worth.
Well,
money.
exactly. And, yeah, and that's the thing. You know, when we were first discussing it, to me, is I know kids, and kids get bored easily.
Yeah.
And let's say you build a strength machine, and there's 5 different characters that you beat. Batman, Robin, Superman, the Hulk, and you go through and you beat all these characters. Well, what's next? The kids are going to get bored of that very quickly.
Right.
And a lot of the other things that you've brought up, have really helped to settle my nerves on that part. With there could be contests and incentives and everything else, and to keep them going and to keep them interested, and that was the thing I liked with the different superhero characters and so on. Is you beat one and then you have to work on beating that next one and beating that next one, and
right.
That's and then in between then there's things that could push them to do better. If you do this, like we've emailed before about exercise, just little exercise tips and hints, and well, if you go out for an hour a day and play basketball, or go out and throw the football for an hour a day, it's going to help with your upper body arm strength, and it's going to help you to beat that next character. And I really like the idea of that, to give them a little extra push to do to exercise. And I think in terms of advertising for us, for for our, and you mentioned for our idea, that would be huge with parents.
I believe so. Yes.
So, that's the way I'm looking at it. Is just, I know kids get bored easily, but with incentives and other things to push them, with contests and everything else, I think that would just be huge. With the app, it's just a great idea, because the apps are what kids are into nowadays. Every kid has 100 different apps. So
they're completely familiar with that world.
Absolutely, and that's where our culture is games, or that are apps and everything else. So.
And that goes back to the age-old thing about not having to educate your market.
Yes.
That's where the real cost is on any product, is having to educate your clientele, your market, into what it does and why it does it. And this is kind of like an impulse value, seems to me. I mean, most any kid will be able to figure this out in 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that they can win things, and I think that's a great idea, because that will push them to keep going, and and groups of kids can get together and can test their strengths and see who can get the most prizes. And I just think that's a great idea. It definitely helps to keep them interested.
Yep. And then, and so as far as marketing to the rehab side of it, that's a little more complicated in some sense, because you have to send it for trials in certain places, but once it works, it's really easy to get testimonials, and so it would probably be, once we had like 20 units, and we would get together with some rehab outfit, and then do a trial with them for 2 months or something like that, so they can, because they'll give us feedback.
Yeah.
And
so are we still looking at October of 2016?
For being in market, you mean?
Yes.
Or before. Now, here's my suggestion. A couple things need to happen.
Okay.
And I'm working my ass off right now to do provisional patents, because I've got to have. I'm likely to be going out to Africa in, I think, the 8th of July. At least that's part of the thing, for a couple of weeks. So
right.
my goal is to get 2 patents that I have to have for the presentation I'm doing out there.
Okay.
And yours done before I leave. So I've got about a couple of weeks to do that. And so I'll be firing off drafts of this thing to you guys like every other day till we get and then because we want to, this is the provisional patent, so we want to throw everything imaginable in there, all the stuff we talked about today, and anything else that we can dream up, because that's how it works.
Right.
And then I believe that when I get back, like I said, I'm only gone for a couple of weeks, so I should be back by I don't know, the 3rd week of July probably. And we have a remarkable opportunity coming up. The state of Colorado is now changing their law, and maybe I don't know if I sent that to you or not, but
you did. You did.
Yeah, about state authorized crowdfunding. Okay.
Right.
I believe that we should knock together a crowdfunding offering for those sometime in the latter 2 weeks of August, because it officially kicks in. You can't do this until I don't know, 15th of August, but let's just say by the 1st of September we would have a website and we would have an offering, and we would do something just really, really small, like 10 grand or something like that. Which we should be able to fund in like less than a day.
Wow.
Because this is such, all the things we've talked about today, we can package into a show and tell. And and to that extent, I need Matt. I introduced you to Matt, I think, my 3D guy.
Right.
Okay. I need you to contribute a little money to him just to get through this. It's probably going to be about $600 to get a really nice looking rendition of what we're talking about. It won't be the final design, but I want to have something by the middle of August that we can use as a, here it is. Here's how it works.
Right.
To take to the crowdfunding to add to the crowdfunding website and such. We launched that, and then I think that just mostly with people I know, I bet we can have that 10 grand, in a very short order. At which point, then we'll take that money, turn around, go to my patent attorneys in Denver, and actually file the formal patent on it. Okay, start that process. And then do all of our trademarking and our branding and all that sort of stuff, and then actually use some of that money for physical prototypes. We'll need to hire some guy to write the app for it. That's probably $1,000. We'll need to 3D print a bunch of these things to test them out. Another $3 or $4,000, but 10 to 20 grand, somewhere in there, so that by the end of the year, certainly, we have functional prototypes. We have, and as soon as we have that, then we go back to the second round of crowdfunding, and go for $100,000, which gets us into the next phase of really formalizing it into both sides of the invention.
And most of that money is going to our first and our second phase is coming from crowdfunding.
I don't think we have to personally put a dime in it. We have a great idea. We have a wonderful concept. We have and the key to this is what I learned, I've been told and taught, which is that the way you make it work, and Ray Kurzweil is one of the best mentors for that, who said, here's what you do. You figure out what people are going to want in 3 years. Okay? And if you start on it now, and if you have it ready by the time the demand is there, then you'll have a remarkable success.
Right.
Now, in our case, I'm thinking that it's something that people would buy now. But we don't want to roll it out till we have enough of our own experience with the thing to guarantee that it does everything that we want it to do.
Right.
But it's not rocket science in that sense. This is something that we can do. The three of us can figure this out and tweak it and document it and get other people to invest and pay for it, and suddenly it's a big deal.
Right.
You know. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, me and Dad were reading over that email of crowdfunding. This is the first I've heard of it. You know, I've never been involved in. You know, me and Dad have never been involved in anything like this. And no, I think it's a fantastic idea. I sent you an email the other night, so I'm guessing you didn't get it because in the email, I said, hey, let me know, when you're planning on putting this crowdfunding idea out there because absolutely, I can send, we can send out text messages and Facebook messages and let friends and family know, and I think we could get a lot of support that way as well.
Absolutely right. And did I send you that 2-hour seminar from New York? I hope I did. Anyway, I'll send it again.
I don't know. No, I don't remember seeing that.
Okay.
But check your email for my email, Stephen, because in my email I also brought up the idea of the gym, and strength conditioning places.
Okay.
I also brought up that idea as well. As this would be something nice that they could have, that people could test their strength and see how well they're doing. I think gyms would like that because in a gym people get a membership, they stick around for a month or two, and then they cancel their membership.
Right.
If there's a way that people can actually see that they're increasing their strength and doing better, I think gyms would really like that idea.
And there you go. You're right.
So I sent that out just because I know you're getting ready to work on these provisional patents, and I know you got to load them up as much as possible.
Yep.
So I thought that would be
that's a good idea.
Well that you could put in.
Go
ahead and look.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll double check and make sure I sent that email, but I'm pretty sure I did. But yeah, double check for that. And then I also talked about the crowdfunding as well in that email. So.
Good. I apologize because I don't think I've seen it, but it isn't because you probably didn't send it. I get 150 emails a day, and I just can't. We totally understand, Stephen, and I appreciate all the time and effort you're putting into this, and it's really nice to have somebody with your expertise on our side to do this whole thing. So Ryan, I'm a believer in this thing. I'm a believer in it.
Yeah.
It's beyond just it's a good idea. Because I've had so much. I know how important this is to rehab and to kids getting the right idea.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I know, me too. And I just starting out, I just kind of saw this basic, little machine. But now there's so many different avenues that we could go. It's very exciting.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, the real help I need is to put $600 into Matt's bank account. He's got a Wells Fargo or something like that, so he can run with this and get it ready for us because we'll need it.
Okay, well, let me know how I can do that. I'll send you $600.
All right. It'll be in I had him set up a Wells Fargo account, so you can just go to any Wells Fargo, and I'll get you the account number. Just drop it in there, and that'll cover it right there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, when you're talking about the 10,000, 100,000, that's coming from like other sources, crowdfunding and stuff like that.
That's purely from crowdfunding. Yes. Now, crowdfunding does not forestall conventional investors who are accredited investors saying, "Hey, I love this. Let me put $50,000. Let me buy a bigger chunk of this deal."
Okay.
And
crowdfunding is smaller, and you just offer them incentives. Or is from what I read. You offer them maybe a model of the machine.
Well, let me clear that up because that's how that works. That's how it's traditionally worked. Okay. That's Kickstarter, Indiegogo, in the past, and still in those formats. Yes, you are selling a favor or a device or a thing, or a book or whatever it is, or a T-shirt or a cup or on and on. Colorado crowdfunding is different because under the new law, you are selling shares in a company. These are genuine shareholdings in a company.
Okay.
So we can issue 1,000 shares, 10,000 shares, 1,000,000 shares, 10 million shares, doesn't matter. But you can raise up to $1 million in one calendar year with people who it could be anybody can put $1 or up to 5,000 into your company. And so,
Okay.
and the rules will be out in more detail next week. Tomorrow, I'm sending somebody to a crowdfunding seminar. We'll get the details on how you handle the actual share issuance. There's rules on that.
So then each one of these people that are putting money in would be a minority owner.
Correct. They get
sorts, right?
the way probably we do it is we issue enough shares so that the $1 million represents 49% of the company or 30% of the company or whatever it is.
Okay.
And so they have an undivided interest in the company and and I'll get more detail about that as how this goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they basically they're an equity partner. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and that's pretty much whatever we have to do, to make this thing happen is what we have to do. So if that's what we have to do to get the money to make it work, then that's what we have to do. So.
Well, that's probably the easiest way that's ever been available to raise venture capital.
Okay. And then now, if it doesn't end up, I don't want to jinx it, but if it doesn't end up working, you have to return the money to them, or is it?
The rules under Colorado crowdfunding are that you have to hit at least 50% of your target. You have to establish a target. So let's say that you say $10,000. You have to raise at least $5,000 of the $10,000 to keep the money. That's correct.
Okay.
That's
gotcha.
under Colorado rules. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I think what we were reading was just kind of a general guidelines of crowdfunding. So the Colorado, like you're saying, they're coming out with their own rules.
Yeah.
So I definitely like to take a look at those when they come out. So.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it works. So anyway, I'm extremely excited about this. I'm confident as well that it has a real place in both the amusement world, the toy world, and in the rehab worlds. I think all those venues, all those purposes are genuine, and people are waiting for the thing to show up.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, Stephen, thank you so much for all your help and expertise.
Well, I'm so grateful to Gary for dreaming this thing up because it's something that needs to be made.
He's been holding on to it for years. So it just took you to get it out of him. So
well, we'll put it out there, and if it contributes to kids being healthier, the mission accomplished. I mean, if it really just does that, we'll be thrilled.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. So, the rehab side of it too. So
yeah.
The whole fact that this gets to help people is great. So.
Yeah, and Stephen, I'm going to go to the San Jose conference. Of course, eventually you'll give me more details, and Ryan's going to try to go too.
Okay. What conference is it?
You said you're going to some kind of conference in San Jose.
Yes. That's right. That's right. That's in the fall. That's the robotics.
The motor.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that too. Yep. That we'll all get to that. That will be fascinating.
Yes, and you're going to just be there 2 days?
No, I'm on flex time. The only thing that may come up is whether I have some more work in Africa, but I'm trying to do all that by remote control. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
just real quick, we've been on the phone quite a while.
Yeah.
How's your other ventures? Your wedding chapel and your robotic thing for police officers?
Well, the robotic thing you see is going along well. The curiosity of this is we're going out to Africa, and I'm taking that's what these two patents are about.
Okay.
The background, Ryan, is that I have this new relationship that's been going for about a year with the people in Tanzania. And now they have a crisis about this elephant poaching going on. Crisis. I mean, they're losing that battle. So
Yeah,
I said, well, okay, let me just take this patent that we already have and let me revamp that to accommodate what the conditions would be out there in game warden land, where who wants that job? You're out there, like say like you see in the movies, in the back of an old stake bed truck, they drive out there and then you tramp through the jungle looking for poachers.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Those poachers they're way, way more, they can outgun you anytime. They got better stuff than you do. And you're making, $28 a week in this as a park ranger. And you're a target. And what has transpired, the worst part of this is that the poachers now are being co-opted and being threatened and held hostage by the ISIS types that are moving down through Kenya. And so it's just a terrible situation. So my modifications to that is it's the same traffic stop kind of concept, but in this case deploying these robotic devices that can go out into the Serengeti and just park there, and they can provide the same surveillance that would be if you were standing there 24 hours a day. And so that part of it is the surveillance, figuring out where those guys are going, and then the other part of it is to have a way to do surveillance with drones, and that's already been rolled out in South Africa. They're using.
Yeah, I've heard and read. I read an article about that, how they're using the drones to help with the poaching as well.
Yeah, and that's really put a big stop to the rhino problem. But
that's fantastic that your idea of the traffic stop has turned into this, as well. So that's incredible.
Yeah, it just seems a natural extension to me, and so now the political job of dealing with the powers that be out there, and my tactic is the beer companies. There are big beer companies out there that underwrite the elephant conferences. So my goal is to talk to them to get them to pay for these test programs using this new technology. And so
that's great.
And we are being flown out there by Qatar Airways. Qatar Airways are paying our jet ride. And the reason Qatar's so concerned about this is the tourism that they benefit from. They haul people to Kilimanjaro from all over the world. It's a huge airline business. Tourisms, go to see the elephants, go to see the giraffes, go to see the rhinos, go see the animals. And if that gets screwed up, that kills the tourism. The airline business goes to zero about the first time some tourist gets, abducted by a
absolutely. It's just like dominoes,
Yeah.
Once one falls, they all fall.
Yep, that's it. So
absolutely, that's great.
So I'm hopeful that I have their ear and that they're willing to pour. I mean, why wouldn't they pour a lot of money into something to stop the problem? So.
Well, to save their business. I mean,
save the business. Yeah.
Right. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Save their economy.
Yeah. I mean, 20% or 17% of Tanzania's revenue is tourists. Kenya's probably bigger than that. So.
That's great. Well, have a safe trip out there and good luck. I hope it goes well for you.
Well, it'll be curious. It will be curious, and so. But every other day you'll be getting stuff from me, and thanks for taking care of Matt. We'll get that squared away, and then, like I say, I need every bit of anything you can imagine that these things could do. We need to write that into the patent, and so we will.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. Anything you need from us, just let us know, and then look for that email I sent you as well.
No, you guys have been great. I'm thrilled to be working with you, and off we go. Okay.
Great. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Stephen.
All right. Thanks very kindly.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Okay. All right. Okay. Bye now.
Bye.